Julia Spencer is a real estate investor with over 25 years' experience who owns multiple investment properties. She's a single mother of two who moved to the U.S. in 1993 with only $20 in her pocket. She currently holds an MBA. Julia Spencer is neither a realtor nor an attorney, and the contents of this recording are only her opinions. Get her free guide to investing at juliamspencer.com. I'm your host, Dr. Steve G. Jones, multimillionaire and hypnotherapist. My website is stevegjones.com. Essential Landlord Guide. Module 3, Leases. Importance of Documentation.
Julia M. Spencer here. Hello. I'm a real estate advisor, investor, and enthusiast. Love anything to do with real estate and being an investor and a landlord. And this is a continuation of our discussion on leases, specifically leases, do's, and don'ts for the beginner landlord who does not use a property manager. And even if you do use a property manager, it's always good to know their job also, even though you don't have to do it yourself, to make sure that they do it properly for you and that you have a good property manager. I actually have recorded a couple of other products that discuss that whole entire issue of how to find a good property manager or how to find good people to work for you in general. That's a separate subject. But for this particular module, I want to talk a little bit more about leases, do's, and don'ts. So our prior discussion, we stopped at where we were talking about the security deposit and how it cannot be applied to tenant to rent. Now, even when you put that clause in, what's going to happen is still a lot of tenants are going to think that their last months of rent is free. Now, don't let that discourage you. Don't let them send you messages and telling you that, we've already paid it for our security deposit, so we don't owe you anything. Make sure that they know that you are more than willing to come after them or at least arrange with them the additional payment, because obviously security deposit is not rent and they got to make sure that they pay their rent. Now, one thing that you do have to do as a landlord whenever a tenant moves out and you found some damages or there's a lot of cleaning, you want to make sure that the tenant understands that upon leaving, they're responsible to give you the place nice and clean. As a landlord, you're responsible to provide the property clean to them when they move in. So if you're not doing the cleaning yourself, obviously you need to hire somebody to do the cleaning for you, or you got to make sure that your property manager does that and verify that it is clean. I recommend that between tenants, you always either go into the property or send your property manager to take pictures. Take lots of pictures. It's not expensive to take pictures these days anymore. Use your smartphone or just a regular camera. Use your computer, your iPad, whatever you have, and just go around the house. Take 15 minutes at the most, maybe 10 minutes, and take pictures of each room as you're handing the property to the tenant. This is kind of like serving as your move-in inspection. There's another thing that you need to do in terms of paperwork, but go ahead and verify yourself that you took pictures of the property when you gave it to the tenant so that later on you have proof that when something is damaged or something is missing, that you have proof that it was actually there when it was given to the tenant. And let me tell you a couple of things that have happened to me. This is an interesting story. But there used to be a house that I owned, or still own actually, that has had a really beautiful kitchen island. It was basically a removable piece of furniture, but it went with the kitchen. It was a very heavy piece of furniture, and we had taken the extra time to paint it, sand it, repaint it. We had it tiled. It was a beautiful piece. And it went perfectly with the kitchen. It matched the countertops, it matched the floors, it just matched the kitchen in general. And upon move out, a tenant took it with them. And I never had taken any pictures. We didn't annotate in the move in, move out inspection, anything about it. And also, I didn't write it in the lease because I figured, it's just like everything else in the house. You kind of don't take your bathtub with you when you move out of the house. But in this case, the tenant thought that the kitchen island was a good thing to take. And so they sent somebody and they got a truck and they moved it. Obviously, I wasn't there when they moved out and it went missing. So you want to make sure that you have large items like that are not permanently attached to the house, that you write down that they are to stay in the house. That includes appliances too, by the way, refrigerators and stoves. There's been several occasions where I had tenants take the fridge with them that wasn't even theirs to take, which was very disturbing to me. But in this day and age, take your time, don't rush your tenants in there, the next tenants that are about to rent your place, and take pictures. Make sure that you have taken pictures, keep the pictures and save it. And so you have something of a proof that you can take to the court and say, hey, this and this was stolen or taken without my permission, and I want to be reimbursed for it. This is very important for a landlord. Of course, as the tenant moves out at the end of the lease, you are responsible to tell them why you retained some of their security deposit if you did. And so you write in the lease that you will provide them that within 30 days. Now, after the tenant moves out, you as a landlord, your responsibility is to check the property and provide that statement if you're retaining anything and the remaining funds to them. And you basically are responsible to check your property and do those calculations and provide them with a letter and refund them any money to them if there's any due. You want to write that in the lease that you have 30 days because I've had a lot of tenants that move out on one day and on the next day they want their security deposit back because they need to apply to whatever next place they're moving into. Now, I always want to make sure that my tenants know that, hey, I have 30 days to return this money to you. It's not because I don't want to give it to you. It's just because it takes time for me to check the property and to get estimates on any repairs or any kind of maintenance or the bills for any kind of cleaning if I had to do any cleaning. So I'm going to do my utmost best to do it below the 30 days. But in this lease that you have signed to your tenant, basically agree that I have 30 days to get this money back to you. And basically, what I wanted to ensure too that when you have a tenant like that and they're moving out and they're maybe not following the obligations of their lease and kind of trashing your place, not keeping up with the maintenance, so you have a lot of maintenance issues when you get the property back. You ask them in the lease that it is their responsibility to...
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.